Welcome, everyone, to the Minions of the Zoo Tuesday edition. I'm your keeper, Skep Tock, and with me this evening I have Minions Prospero,
Hello.
the Harry Channel,
Good evening.
and Jenna.
Hola!
And we expect to be joined by Blind Press at some point. She has the link and has said that she is on the way. So I'm sure we'll be joined shortly. And I hope you're all having a good evening. How was your day today, Prospero?
It was fine, thank you.
Do anything fun? What's going on in Virginia?
Nothing spectacular. Sunday we had run out to the site and just to see our footings in the ground.
Now this is of your new house that you're
Yes,
building.
as opposed to the hole, there are footings there, and they had drilled the rebar in that they build the frame around.
Oh, you're going with rebar in the concrete.
Well, they do that to
It's really upscale.
They do that to construct the frame for the basement pour.
All right.
And so they are supposed to be setting the molds for.
I live in Texas, where basements are a theoretical concept.
Yeah.
Possible, maybe under certain circumstances.
Yeah, well, it's not unlike around here. It can depend, but it isn't because of hard pan or anything strange like that.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, yeah, we can dynamite a hole for you,
right? Exactly.
And then you'll be surprised because there'll be a spring underneath it.
Right, exactly. That's Texas T.
The
I don't know. It's called the foundation company.
Yeah. Well, it's once they pour the foundation, I think it's going to seem a little more real. But at least there's something in our whole sweet hole right now.
I know you're getting excited. Is there any ETA at all on that?
There's no way to predict with the supply chain being what it is. They put out a video today. The company that builds the product has been doing a series, their marketing director, for the last 2 years now, called Tuesdays at 2. And she started doing it when the pandemic hit because it was a way to market and also a way to see what's going on in the home building industry.
And what is going on in the home building industry?
Oh, well, I mean, she was speaking to their purchasing guy today. And normally purchasing agents for construction companies, they have all these vendors that they deal with, and vendors tend to raise their prices once a year in spring. That's kind of the reset, kind of before the new busy season. 6 to 8 price increases over the past year. This guy has been in the business for 30 years and said he's never seen so many price increases, because what's happening is, of course, the supply chain merely isn't getting the siding to the home builder. It's the people who make the siding getting the materials with which to make the siding. And so it's been feeding up and down the chain in just one constant. It sounds like a hellscape to me, to have to deal with. Everybody's in the same boat, so there's the camaraderie there. But, they put in a purchase order and get a call back 24 hours later saying we can only half fill this because we're out of stock.
Okay, so what this ends up doing to you is that it puts you in all kinds of uncertainty about when the house that you're building is going to be completed. But we think within the next 1 to 5 years.
Yeah, it contractually they really only have until August, because that would be the 2-year mark where we've signed. I mean, we bought at the right time. I am not complaining because of the cost increases that have occurred. Buying now would have cost us significantly more money. Yeah. So I can take the foot dragging. They're not dragging their feet. I mean, I just can take
I understand
the experience.
You're just dealing with it and doing the best you can with
metric fuck ton of salt. Yeah.
That's a good thing. All right, let me move around the panel
Sure.
here. Harry, what have you been up to, man?
Well, let's see. Fong and I are getting along a little better. my $28 Chinese headset. We've almost reached kind of an understanding. Little tete-a-tete here. Fong, yes.
Yeah, a nervous standoff.
Yes. Yes. It actually sort of, surprisingly, it actually works pretty well in every respect except for the multifunction button, which is really kind of like a magic 8-ball, in terms of, every time I use it, I get later. Yeah, pretty much. I'll walk away from the phone with this thing on. It'll be like, I want to hang up now. It's like, no, Fong doesn't feel like hanging up just yet.
Oh, that's funny.
It's annoying. But see, I did that, and there was a huge amount of ivy that was coming over the fence from my stupid neighbors.
Saw your picture of that.
Yeah, I took a big chunk out of that, and I'm going to do a lot more. And as I was standing on the ladder and my head was above the fence, it's like a 10-something foot fence. It's a little higher than code allows, but I'm not going to tell. There's like this little dog on the other side of the fence, and he's just barking. And I'm just like, you and your asshole owners can just suck it. I'm just going to be up here, and here, don't mind me while I take this ivy and push it over the edge of the fence while it falls in your garden beds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, because some of it wasn't firmly attached, so I just picked it up and just kind of, the stuff that wasn't too well established and just kind of tossed it over the edge. Enjoy.
Yeah, they planted it.
Yeah.
Idiots. Ugh.
Well, I don't know if they, if they're the ones that planted it or the ones who bought the house that had it there, but
it's just by some other horticultural terrorist.
Take care of your shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Did you ask them if they would remove it from your fence?
No, I made full use of the law that says once a plant goes onto my property line, I can basically cut anything that hangs over.
But what if they didn't notice and they just would have nicely done that instead of starting a street war?
He didn't start a street war, though.
I didn't.
Yet.
Yeah. I mean...
I'm sorry I set your fence on fire, but I was trying to kill the ivy.
My grandfather, in one of his rare petulant moments, there was these neighbors that we hated who were behind, and they had this palm tree. And the palm tree would just drop. It was right on the property line on their side of the fence. And it would drop all of these palm leaves all over the garden, and it annoyed the hell out of him. So whenever he had any leftover herbicide or pesticide or anything else, he basically dug this hole into which all of those things would go. And it just happened to be on our side of the fence right next to that palm tree. So for the longest time, you look up and half of that palm tree would be completely dead.
Oh, man, he was committing arboricide for justice.
Arboricide.
Oh, God.
I'm not quite as bad as that. All I did was push their shitty ivy over onto the other side.
Yeah.
What I need is one of those things like they use for trimming some of the power lines next to the... Sorry, not the trimming the trees next to the power lines. It's like a huge radial arm saw that hangs underneath a helicopter, and it just goes, and just cuts through things. I need that. That would make short work of this.
Yes. That would work.
Unfortunately, I don't
maybe
have that.
With ivy. I don't know. Ivy is evil. It is just, God, it's a marvelous ground cover for stability.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not as invasive as kudzu.
No.
But it is I
was going to say, if you want evil,
kudzu is evil.
Kudzu's your boa.
Yeah, and we gleefully planted it on roadsides across America. Oh, joy.
Yeah, this will help with the erosion.
Yeah, man, it's the English ivy would have been better. But English ivy is so difficult to get rid of. It is incredibly difficult to get rid of.
We should have used something like Chinese ivy, which, if you've ever looked at Chinese ivy, it has a leaf that is absolutely identical to cannabis indicus, to marijuana. you cannot tell the difference between Chinese ivy and marijuana.
We just have homeless encampments on the side of interstates.
Yeah, I think but you the leaves aren't smokable. It's not related to. It just has those sawtooth leaves that, and they're exactly the same shape though. The relationship is eerie. But the other thing about Chinese ivy is that it puts out a lot of little roots that go straight down. And it's really good for stabilizing hillsides and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there are all kinds of beautiful plants that can do that. I mean, Pachysandra can be used for stabilizing. Certain vinca will do it rather nicely.
Okay, thank you.
Periwinkle and that kind of thing.
I just want to make sure we get the bots out of here. Thank you, Costin.
Yeah, Constant got it.
God.
I was watching.
What is with the invasion of bots? We're getting these on Roaming Millennials stream. I was killing bots left and right.
Everybody's getting them.
All right, whatever.
It's just there's some farm. It's the Great Bulgarian Server Farm. They had to do something after the Clintons stopped giving them business.
Harry, what do you think that is?
About the bots? I don't know. Clearly there's some profit motive or they wouldn't do it. I mean, it's just spam, basically.
Just what I was thinking, but what are they doing? What are they trying to prove? What is this?
Well, it costs them, there's no marginal cost to them doing this, so they just hope that occasionally somebody will be dumb enough to go to that URL.
I suppose.
Yeah.
A lot of times they don't even, they just leave some stupid message. It's not even a URL. It's, I'm going to see, like this one is a name, Amina Elisieva. Alessieva actually is the way that is. That is a first and last name of probably somebody Eastern Russian, Eastern Pole or Western Russian. Just guessing because I've known a couple of people with names very similar to that who came from that part of Russia.
No, it could be used to try to intimidate somebody. It could be used to try to make the account look legitimate by putting up something that isn't spam, but, parses as actual words. Because if the very first thing the thing posts is a spam link, it could get yeeted more quickly by some algorithm. So you have to chum the waters with stuff that doesn't look like spam so that your spam works.
No, you know what this is? This is somebody who is trying to coordinate people, who's trying to vector people to their Instagram and Facebook. I just looked them up on our Twitter, on Russia Twitter.
See, I'm not giving them the satisfaction of looking up their damn name.
Yeah, well, that somewhere deep in the Google machine, she got a click from me, Amina Elisieva. Okay, another name to put in the back of my mind to avoid and to hurt if I can, if it's convenient. So it's because that spite makes the world go round. What can you say? I really like Jenna's picture. Jenna, how you doing, hon?
Doing okay.
What? How come you changed your picture?
What?
How come you changed your picture?
Oh, I'm on a different device.
Oh! So that's just what you have as your icon on.
That was, when I signed in, when I hit the link, that was I guess it's the last time I used it was probably Christmas 2 years ago by the look of the kids in the photos. You can't see their faces, can you?
No.
Yeah. That's the picture that came with the phone. It's like when you buy the picture frame and you just keep the picture that's in the frame.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the
With
picture
my
that came with
kids in the Christmas tree.
Well, we don't know if they're your kids. It's just some kids in a Christmas tree.
The stock
Can't see their faces.
It's a trope in all the secret agent things when the secret agent realizes that, you know, the new guy at work isn't who he seems to be, and he looks at the picture on the guy's desk, you know, of the wife and kid, and realizes it comes from an advertisement.
Exactly.
And that's the trope they're talking about.
I stole it from a commercial.
Yeah. Nobody.
You didn't steal it. You bought it. It came with the phone.
Right. Oh, me. So anyway, yeah, it's, you know, well, nobody ever asked the host how their day was, but you're going to find out anyway. I have turned into a delivery service. I deliver my grandkids to places. That's just what I do now. They're at the age, the bottom end is 10 years old, and the top end is 16 now. And there are 5 of them, and they have to go everywhere. And I seem to be driving them to a significant number of these. And I don't really mind. It's kind of fun, actually, because you get some variety. You get to talk with them and find out what they're up to and so forth. But it sure is time consuming. It's amazingly time consuming. But it chews up an hour every time you get one of these missions. You know, I get a mission from my stepdaughter, and, you know, go pick up so and so and deliver them to such and such an activity. Okay. It's always chews up an hour, minimum 1 hour. And anyway, so that's how I spent my day, was delivering grandkids to places, did get a chance to work out, walk the dog, clean the house, did a load of laundry, and that is pretty much my life these days.
Well, more productive than mine.
Skep, because I don't drive, we have the 4 grandparents and the 2 we kidnapped drive around, because, you know, there are more of them than there are of us. And because of where I live, one of the kids can have soccer practice or baseball practice at the end of, in a different town, and then the other one could have it in a town the exact opposite of from the other town, and it's so much fun to play. And then there's indoor and dance, and it's just a ball. Oh, it is my mom's birthday, so everyone say happy birthday to my mom.
Happy birthday,
Jenna's mom. Outstanding. Outstanding in its field. You know what? I'm going to ask the 3 of you to talk amongst yourself for a second. I have to go take care of something right quick. And it's not a typical old man thing. I was going to the bathroom, I'd tell you.
I'm going to go check my prostate.
I've got to run. I'll be right back.
Bye.
Talk amongst yourself. I'll be right back.
Oh.
So can you believe that, Skep?
I know.
Yeah. I could just show pictures of Stacey Abrams.
I think Stacey Abrams should be on the Supreme Court. What do you think?
I think a strong black woman like Stacey Abrams would be an excellent Supreme Court justice. But I think that it would actually be an innovative way to solve the Kamala problem.
Yeah, I could see. Get her out of the way.
Yeah. And then bring in Stacey Abrams to replace her.
Oh.
So we make Kamala the Supreme Court justice, and we bring in Stacey Abrams as the new vice president.
Okay, but here's the thing. Why isn't it racist for Biden to say he's only nominating a black woman, but on the other side, if they were to say that, the media would go insane. Oh, you're not looking at all your opportunities. What about the Mexicans?
Because they're Democrats and they're the good guys. That's why.
Well, isn't Sotomayor sort of vaguely Latin?
Yeah, well, yes.
So there you go. You've already got your proud Latinx.
She is a wise Latina woman.
So they've already got a Latina woman, so now they have to have a proud African American woman.
Well, and they already had a dead woman on the court for a bunch of years.
Yeah.
So the dead were represented, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, as I
thank you,
they don't mind if people are overrepresented, because we still have Clarence Thomas on the Supreme Court. I know that in their opinion he doesn't count, but
oh, absolutely,
one ninth of the Supreme Court is African American, and about a ninth of America is African American. So we've already achieved sort of parity, but that's not what they're interested in. They're not interested in representation. They're interested in dominance and revenge.
Logic is bad.
Correct.
You're absolutely right. Dominance and revenge is right.
Yeah. Actually, I was out having barbecue with my buddies a few years ago, and there was this younger woman who was at the barbecue place. She was actually a student, but she was sort of working part-time managing the restaurant. And I don't know how it came up. I let the veil slip in front of my friends one time, and we were talking to this young lady. I mean, we talked to her a bunch of times before, and somehow I ended up in the position of saying, well, you know, it's one thing to kind of make the world more just. Just be careful that you're looking for equality and not revenge. And it's like, oh shit, you're not supposed to say that part, right?
That's
certainly
not out loud.
Yeah, because she just looked sort of confused for a moment, and my friends kind of were so taken aback that I think that might have been the start of them worrying about my immortal soul.
Oh, how nice of them!
At least they care.
Yeah,
they, you know, it's so obviously vindictive. If you look at the attitude that people like Joy Reid and Stacey Abrams, you know, with her, you know, capitalists are the enemy, you know, women of the workers of the world unite, roll up the sleeve pose.
Mm-hmm.
Those are people who are saying easy things that they think everybody wants to hear, and Uncle Sugar is gonna come and, you know, hand out the goodies, and there's going to be no end to it, and you can stay at home, stay high, have plenty of food to eat, have a roof over your head, and just game your life away, and everything will be fine. And just vote Democrat, and all this can be yours. And as irresponsible and as negative and as bad as that message is, it's what's getting out there. It's really disappointing. And I haven't heard it stated better than that. It's vindictive and vengeful. It's about obtaining revenge for a perceived slight. A group of people who were never slaves, never suffered from slavery, okay, want to take money away from people who never enslaved anybody. Because why? Somebody explain reparations to me.
There was
because they have the same skin color as those people.
Yeah. Well, I still think back. It wasn't a bunch of white people that were going into the interior of Africa gathering slaves. It was
those were other Africans.
Those were other Africans gathering slaves who then brought them to boats where white people purchased them.
Yeah.
And the point is that slavery is a human problem, not to go all Whoopi Goldberg on everybody here.
No, it is.
I think actually gloating over Whoopi being suspended is a bad idea. I think that
it's the biggest punishment they could give her, and it's not really a punishment.
If you talk for long enough, you will say stupid things. If she sort of said this over and over again and just doubled and tripled down, that might be different. But I think, somebody like her who talks as much as she does, as often as she does, for as many years as she does, I'm willing to just kind of, give her some side eye and not worry about it just the one time.
And let this one go. I'll even go farther than that. I don't know very many people who have come out and have put in as much time and effort as I have in the social media war against anti-Semitism. I am very into that. I spend a lot of time on that every single day. And I don't think that anything should happen to Whoopi. I think they should say, boy, well, we're going to let our viewers just think about what you said and let's move on. Yeah. Because this is a free country and we get to say all the things, even the hateful things, because we have brains and we have souls and we have morals and we have enough common sense to make judgments about what is good, what is righteous, what is appropriate in a general sense when it comes to the big issues. Racism, bad. Anti-Semitism, bad. It's kind of a form of racism. And people can make that judgment and say, hey, I want to watch more of this, and they can watch that if they want to. Or I don't care to watch this, I'll watch something else, and they can make that decision too.
As a group, there is no group of people on this planet that is 100% good or 100% bad. Well, all communists are bad, so forget that. But there's no group of people that are 100% good. So I am not anti-Semitic. You could probably make an argument for being anti-Zionist. There are some Jews that do things.
Of Zionism.
Exactly. There are some Jews who do things which I don't think are admirable and I don't admire. Which isn't to say that I would do anything terrible to them or anything, but I mean, I don't think that some of the really restrictive Orthodox stuff is okay. I don't think they should have a parallel justice system any more so than any other group should have a parallel religious justice system in the United States. I don't think we have any room for that.
If it's not right for Islam, it's not right for Judaism.
Well, it was not right for Judaism.
We can't be
earlier.
against. We can't be against one and not the other.
Well, I'm not in favor of either.
In a generation or two, that problem will solve itself.
But until then, I'm still against it.
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
Yeah,
I think that there are sects of Orthodox Judaism, and I'm not an authority on this, but I've read enough about it to at least make some true statements about that don't believe that the establishment of Israel is a good idea because they have to wait, according to their theology, they need to wait for the true Messiah, Jesus not being the true Messiah. They have to wait for the true Messiah before they can establish the, kingdom where the Jews will reside forever. And the current Israel is kind of a sham to them. I think they call them the New Terra Carta or something like that. Anyway, the NK is the abbreviation, and in the Jewish community, you hear them talk about this, and I'm not qualified to, mitigate those disputes. But when it comes to a country, that's a very tricky thing, because if you're saying we're against our own country, what are you doing living there? And, I think they're in a very, precarious logical place, and they are a distinct minority. I mean, there has to be less than 1% of the Jews in Israel are in that kind of a sect. So other than the ultra Orthodox, other than the edge cases, the Jews in Israel have done a fine job with that little country. They made a paradise out of a patch of nothing they were given after, World War II.
Yeah,
and they've turned that into a paradise, and it's full of technology, bright people. Palestine could have had that. They had 7 chances to say yes. I don't know why I'm going into the Arab-Israeli conflict here, but we can move away from this in a minute. But I'm just going to say they had 7 chances to say yes to prosperity. They really did. And Israel bent over backwards, gave much more than they should have, offered much more than they should have. And that fuckhead Arafat said no. And Abbas wants to destroy Israel, wants it to sow it with salt. And as far as I'm concerned, fuck those guys. Israel has a right to exist.
Yeah.
Change my mind.
Absolutely. Can I just say about the Whoopi situation, though?
Yeah,
I
what?
am shocked they suspended her because she is everything they love about themselves.
I'll bet you it was her idea, Jenna. I'll bet you it doesn't matter. She wanted a couple weeks off. It solves a problem. It doesn't matter. A 2-week suspension to Whoopi Goldberg is of no importance to
I
her
thought it was
whatsoever.
2 months.
It's 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It was
I misunderstood.
announced by the president of the network. That's how high a decision this had to be taken because you don't.
But I mean, what she said was idiotic and and she said it on one of those stupid late night shows and then doubled down on The View.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a remarkable statement.
There was a better chance.
I think we could probably do is watch the View's ratings for the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
Seriously, I'm going to look at the Nielsen's.
Yeah.
It's easy to do. It's a Google search.
Yes.
And just check it out.
It's times like this when I wish that Norm Macdonald was still alive.
Yes.
We want to see if they go from 5 viewers to 10.
Actually, they get a lot of traction, Jenna. I mean, it's pathetic, but it's, daytime TV. I mean, I can't watch it because it's shrill, shrieking, and annoying. And it was that way before things became even as politically charged as they are today.
I remember.
I detest Joy Behar. She's always rubbed me the wrong way. It's just is all I hear.
So highly of you.
I'm sure she does.
I remember. Sorry.
No, I was done.
Oh, I remember when Elizabeth Tebow?
The conservative.
Hasselbeck.
I knew it was some football player's wife.
She sounds like a delicious potato.
And Rosie O'Donnell got into that fight. I was recovering still. So I was almost in a vegetated place. So I could watch the show then. And I was so mad when they went to commercial instead of just letting them go at it.
And the Academy Award for most on-the-nose casting goes to Rosie O'Donnell for In a League of Their Own.
Yeah. I swear to God, I just.
But she used to be called the niceness, something about nice, the Queen of Nice, or Rosie O'Donnell. But she was always a bitch and always evil. But
I wouldn't say she was evil, but she's a bitch.
Jeez.
I would say she's chaotic.
If I saw her
neutral.
coming and I had my kids with me, I'd hide the kids in a bomb shelter.
Here's the problem with The View. First of all 3 or 6 or 10 of however many of them there are, they're all kind of midwits for the most part.
Yes.
It's not a place where you go for deep thinking. Okay.
No.
And the second problem is they all have achieved some level of diva status. All of them have had people blowing sunshine up their skirt for their entire career. Of people telling them how wonderful they are, or how funny they are, or how brave they are, or how pretty they are, or some combination of those things. And it's just all in full blown diva status now. So they just do what like old divas do. They just show up and they say stupid shit, and then people clap, and then they throw their feather boa around and just do what they do.
Yeah.
It's not a thing that I want to have anything to do with whatsoever.
It's the Jersey Shore on a set, you know? I mean, it's just not.
1984 David Lee Roth.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's not
Take
good.
the blue M&Ms out. No blue M&Ms.
Yeah. It's like whatever.
Diva level.
Yeah. It's just, it's so. I just find I have always, since it stopped being news, which was a very, very long time ago, daytime TV after.
Where do you get your news? The View.
Yeah, not.
That's like saying you get your news from CNN.
I think more highly of the
Not
people
wrong.
who got their news from the Daily Show when Jon Stewart was hosting it than I do anyone who says that. And I had a very poor opinion of people who said they got the news from the Daily Show.
Here's a joke that only Cree's gonna understand. It's not so much a view as just an inner join. I apologize.
Yeah, I got it. I was a DBA.
It's a
Harry.
sequel joke.
I was a DBA, dude.
I know, that's right. I forgot. You've done so many things. I'm okay. It's okay if I occasionally forget one of them, isn't it?
I wish you were listening.
Oh, that's funny.
I have no idea what just happened.
Yeah, it was pretty fringe.
Heard a joke for two of us.
Well,
on the planet.
Yeah.
Great. This makes me the dumb one of the group.
Old man in your relational database.
No, if Cree,
the whole key and nothing but the key. Ah!
If Cree were here, he'd be chuckling, and we'd just look at each other, Jenna, and think,
yeah,
that's what they do. This is what they do. I've been around large groups of them when they get together. This is what they do.
It's just a good thing they don't have penises, because they would just sit there and jerk each other off all day if they could.
Oh, the
but
View.
instead, The View.
Written somewhere?
Thank you for this shift, because I was talking about IT guys, and then you say, "Well, it's a good thing they don't have penises," and I'm like,
yeah, no. Well, you know.
Okay, speaking for yourself, perhaps. Imaginary girlfriend keeps it in the closet.
Exactly. Poor imaginary girlfriend. Yeah, it's The View is terrible. I mean, I don't hate these people on sort of a personal level. It's not their fault. This is the same thing that happens with a lot of people. You know, you get like crazy Sharon Stone when she got older, and just a lot.
She wasn't glued all that.
A lot of women in entertainment, like I said, it's not because they're women. It's because the way we treat women, with all, like I said, all the sunshine being blown up their skirt. It's not because of their genetics. It's because of the stupid way we treat them. Nobody should have that much sort of just unearned praise showered on them all the time. And I don't know, do people do it because it's patronizing? We think their egos need this to keep them going.
People really admire them, though. I mean, I just love someone. You know, I mean, Hoda and Kathy Lee on the Today Show. Yeah,
they're way more likable than anybody on The View.
Well, yes, they are, but excuse me, they're not that likable.
Yeah, but at least they seem little, just sort of like genuine, too many mimosas kind of women.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
viewing life through the white wine haze, maybe, but
yeah,
life is a very vague thing for Hoda and that lot.
Silly. They're silly, and
yeah.
my problem is on behalf of women, I resent that becoming the diva class among women. You know, it's just, I find it insulting. I find it kind of sad that girl power has done this. Because it's like girl power is silly girls worshiping other silly girls.
I did not say women. I said women in entertainment. I was very specific.
Yeah, but
most women are a lot more, have their heads screwed on a lot better than
women
these cows
watch
on The View.
This shit. Women fuel this shit.
Good point.
And they buy People magazine. They sit around and gossip about what they heard on The View, and it's as if that's being tuned in to what's going on, and it's not. Now, I know all over this country there are loads of moms who are tuned into their kids' schooling, tuned into their kids' homework, tuned into their kids. But there are an awful lot of women who don't have kids, or their kids are in high school now, and they're less tuned in because the kids need less help. They need less supervision. They need less of that kind of mommying. And they sit down with their cup of coffee in the morning and they watch this crap. And they talk among themselves about, oh, I just love Whoopi's outfits. She's so good at, being bold and colorful, and isn't.
And then they say, I agree with everything she says.
Yes, because
they think she's cute.
Because they think she's cute, they think she's important, they think she has power, and they think that will garner them praise from their friends.
Right.
Yeah.
If you say, I would rather eat all the glassware in your home than watch The View, they think you're insane.
Newsflash, she's not really actually Guinan.
Glassware.
Yeah.
Yeah, not actually Guinan. She's not actually wise.
Yeah, I mean, they just imbue these people with so much power. And they assume they must be intelligent, more intelligent than they, to get where they got. No, they could be wily, crafty, absolutely conscienceless. People think Kamala Harris is a wildly accomplished woman because she's the vice president of the United States.
She only got there because of blowjobs.
Thank you, Jenna. I saw
she's not wrong.
I saw a conversation today where she's more qualified than Pence was mentioned, and I was like, Pence governed a state
successfully.
He governed something. She sat in the Senate. I'm sorry, senators, just take it from me. Governors make better presidents, all right? Overall, they know more about what they're doing because they have worked in the field of governance, the people management, the departmental management, that kind of the executive decision-making tier that is put together. Senate people have staff. And they argue, and they're constantly running for donor bucks. That's what senators do. Well, they deliberate. Well, yes, isn't that charming of them? On occasion, they deliberate. Governors, the buck stops with them for what goes on in their state.
Yeah, their strong suit was the ability to make decisions, not to talk about things for long periods of time.
Yes. Yeah, there's a higher level of executive function in people who have spent time in executive function, generally speaking. And we see it now. Even if Biden were more compos mentis, he was never going to be as good as Jimmy Carter. Just saying.
Yeah.
Because number one, Carter was infinitely smarter.
Oh, yes.
Infinitely smarter and more experienced in governance.
Intelligence was not Carter's problem.
No, it wasn't. He was not particularly wise with some of his staff, but he also, and in fairness to Jimmy Carter, the 70s sucked and he caught the tailpipe of it.
Well, there were people telling him what to do, and he was actively deciding to not do that.
Yes.
Right.
You know, there were smart people saying smart things.
Yeah, he ignored good advice.
He ignored good advice. Well, you can't do what your opponent is saying. I mean, because you can't have Ford running around with a little button that says whip inflation now, and then he's going, yeah, me too.
People. Bert Lance was telling him what to do, and he didn't.
Oh, of course. But Carter was no idiot. But I just want to be clear. I don't know of a single person, male or female, who watches The View. Now, I trust that there are people who watch this stupid show. Otherwise, they wouldn't have all these advertisers. But I don't know anybody who watches that crap.
Supposedly, there's a lady in Austin who watches, but it's not been confirmed. Nobody's ever been seen in Austin watching it. So.
Does she call herself Beta?
Yeah.
So here's a stupid question. I mean, just because I see absolutely no downside to having Kamala become a Supreme Court justice. All it does is solve problems.
Other than the okay, you've got have a little empathy here. Just have a tiny bit of empathy for people who have to argue cases before the court. Whoever it was who was arguing before the court, who had to face Sonia Sotomayor when she completely punted on understanding the 10th Amendment in its entirety. I don't understand why the states have the power, the federal government doesn't. I mean, you've got
because
to
didn't understand it in law school, didn't understand it now.
You've got to have some empathy for their sanity, their blood pressure, their overall mental health and physical well-being.
I was sick that day.
Because honest to God, I would have burst out laughing and lost my court credentials. I honest to God think I would have said, I'm sorry, what did you just say?
Okay, so would Kamala, as the president of the Senate, be able to cast a vote for herself?
No.
Are you sure?
No, she
yes.
In Supreme Court, I believe in Supreme Court cases where the Senate is basically ratifying, the vice president cannot cast the tie-breaking vote.
I wonder why.
I may be wrong.
Because that would be one for the history books. Kamala Harris becomes the Supreme Court justice. The deciding vote is Kamala Harris.
Well, it used to require the 60-40 rule. That's why it wouldn't come to a tie.
Well,
the approval requires the supermajority.
Not only that, but wouldn't it be self-interest?
I don't know when they instituted the nuclear option, whether they excluded that possibility in their rigging of the rules. But I don't know, but it should not be the case.
Hey, sorry to bring this up. Would anybody object if we only went an hour tonight?
Not at all.
There's some I need to take care of here, and
do what you got to do, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call this one. And I feel bad because I don't ever like to shorten the show, but it's just something I can't find a way around. So I have to tend to it personally, and that's just the way it is. So at any rate, I feel terrible. I'm sorry, chat. I feel like I'm letting everybody down, but I'm going to have to run, and that means that I have to end the show because I may not be able to come back and end it in a timely way, and I don't want to run a 5-hour stream or something. So,
how many people do we have watching?
7.
Yeah,
okay.
And I am so sorry, guys. We will do much more next week, but for tonight, the zoo is closed. Thanks for being here. We'll do better next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.